Hello, everybody out there. Old Buck Dave again with Old Buck Dale. I think Old Buck Dale is here.
I'm with you. Old Buck Dale is here.
Okay, you know what the big story this week is, buddy?
What's the big story?
I want to hear. I want to hear the end of Dale's eyeball doctor story. Okay.
Oh,
you left
yeah.
you left us hanging there last week when you said you're going to a new doctor.
Well, Old Buck Dale is hopefully going to be able to see at least 2040, maybe for the remaining few years that he has to hang around. But Dave, what's our favorite saying? It's always something.
It's always something.
It's always something.
Well, that's one of them for sure.
So we left off with a visit to a ophthalmologist that we waited a month and a half to get, right?
Right.
And we've got we'll bring our listeners up to date. We had our usual 25 emails about registering online, and don't forget your appointment. So we got through that, and like I said last time, I decided just to fill out the paperwork in front of them rather than try to do this online.
Because you couldn't read it.
Which is difficult to see on a little phone anyhow. So I said, I'll just go. The appointment is it's now set. Everything is ready to go at 7:30. I have to be there because of my extra paperwork. And 7:45, I'm thinking, who the heck starts at that early? But, what the hell? I'll be first in line.
It's not like you had to be at work.
Yeah. And however, you got to get up. The wife makes sure that you're not wearing your shirts inside out. Your fly is up.
Yeah.
You got the matching socks and shoes, that things. You look presentable to
shorts
go to.
No shorts and no stripes and plaids together, right?
Yeah. Or whatever she'll let you go out the house.
Okay, it's safe to go out now.
So we get all sorted out at 6 a.m. We're ready to go. Everything is set. She takes me there, drops me off at the place. Very nice, pretty nice sized building. And parking lot's not too heavy. I'm thinking, well, I am early. I'm first one in, so can't be too busy. So I get inside the waiting room. There's nobody there except two nurses behind the counter. And I say, I am here. And, oh, yeah. Yes, sir. Here you go. Here's your paperwork. And
so you filled out your paperwork.
Yeah, I'm filling out my paperwork. I'm signing everything. I actually was reading some of the stuff just out of curiosity. Since I had some time, I'm reading. And I'm on page 4 of my signatures. And the nurse walks up to me. It's about not quite 7:45. 7:45. Walks up to me, says, I have some bad news.
Oh, geez.
And I'm thinking, oh, no. She says,
there's more paperwork, right?
No, she says, your doctor called in sick and we'll have to cancel the appointment. And I said, all right. Man. So I said, do you want me to come back this afternoon or maybe Monday or something like that? She said, no, we'll have to schedule it for October. Now that's 2 months.
That's 2 months away.
That's 2 months away. So now, if anybody's listening and is going through this, it's a lot of different ways to react to that. So now I know I can't do anything to the lady. I mean, what am I going to do?
It's not her fault.
Not her fault. So I said, you folks realize that I am walking in this heat. I have to catch a bus. I got a lot of stuff to do here. This is not a simple thing, Jack. Jump back in the Mercedes and run home. Well, I'm sorry, and I said, excuses. I said, it's always excuses. Everybody's got excuses. So I take up the paperwork. I fold it all up, crunch it, and put it in my pocket.
So you were getting a little upset.
Sort of, yeah. But I said, you know what I'm going to do? I said, I'm going to get down to your competition. Don't even bother scheduling any more appointments for me. You guys had your shot. I'm leaving. Thank you very much.
All right.
And I walked out, a very...
man of action.
Man of action. Yes. Yeah. I walks out.
I like it.
I'm outside. And so I calls the wife, you call the wife. And of course she says, what, now what are we, do I got to get you or something? I said, no, I'm going to walk. It's about a mile away. Not quite a mile. Let's say 3/4 a mile away. So I said, I'm just going to do this now.
And it's only 96 out, right?
Yeah. Well, at that time it was probably only 87, but
okay.
So I'm walking down, and when you're walking, you see things you wouldn't see if you're driving, obviously. And same with biking, you know, we go in little
Oh
alleyways and
yeah,
this way.
yep, yep.
So I'm looking around and say, oh, look at this building. They got this going on in there. And I'm walking down the street and I have to be very careful because I could easily fall off a curb. I mean, I would just simply step off the curb and then I would be limping for the rest of the way. So I'm very careful looking down, watching the traffic, crossing lots of major intersections. And I'm walking and walking and walking. Finally, I get to this other place and man, the parking lot is full. And I said, oh boy, I'm going to go inside and hopefully, I can see somebody. Well, I'm telling you, it looked like a checkout line on Christmas Eve at Walmart in there. You know, and then after I got that organized, I said, I need an appointment. How about December? That would be good for me. I'd be happy with that. She said, how about 8:45?
Today,
said, that day.
Oh my gosh.
So I said, it was a factory. It was an eyeglass eye exam factory. So I said, all right, I'll just wait for that. And then I remember I gave you a buzz and said, hey, I'm outside waiting for my appointment.
Yeah.
And you said, well, let me know how that works out. So I'm telling you how it works out. So I get inside and a very nice young man comes up and gives me a thorough look around and we check some stuff and they tell me some things I already know. And then they dilate your eyes and they say, well, wait till you see the actual physician. So they did a couple extra tests on me. And finally they said, well, new lenses, you do have some cataracts and new lenses will help you, but because you have some other issues, you'll never get 20/20. I said, so I'll be happy with what I can get. What do I got to do? So that's where we left it. Now I'm at stage 2, where I have to go back to see the actual surgeon and analyze what what he can do and what he recommends and all the different options. Now here's the kicker, Dave. This is what bugs me.
All right, I'm sitting down. Go ahead.
If you want perfect vision, if you really want some good vision, you can pay $5,000 to get the good vision. And you can get the regular vision with some reading glasses or something for about $1,000, maybe covered by Medicare, right? And at our age.
Right.
Okay. So I said to myself, what does a manufacturer of these tiny little lenses, which can't be no bigger than an eraser on a pencil, what does the manufacturer do that it costs you $5,000 to get good vision, and to get just vision is only $1,000? I'm thinking, if they've got my eye cut open, why don't they just give me good vision?
Make a nice cut or a fair cut.
Yeah, why don't they just say, okay, here's your vision. For this same amount of money, for the $1,000, we're going to let you see. But no, as the U.S. Constitution says, if you can't afford health care, you don't deserve health care.
Jeez. Yeah.
So I'm a little bit honked off about it.
A little bit honked off.
Yeah, well, I'm afraid to say anything. I'm afraid to say anything to the ophthalmologist, because if I say, hey, why don't you're in there, why are you charging me so much for a lens that probably costs the same to manufacture as these other one? Why don't you just put a good lens in and let me see as best I can? And he'll probably say, oh, no vision for you.
No vision for you.
So I'm not going to say anything. I'll just find out. I'll let you know how this works out. But right. I'm in stage 2.
Stage 2
of the famous cataract thing. And all those people have done it. It's still a nervous thing for me. I don't like vision issues. I'm always worried about stuff like that. So I know you might have done it, but I'm still a rookie at this. So that's my story.
That's your story, and you're sticking with it. All right. There may be more chapters ahead.
Well, at least one more. Hopefully I'll be able to see something for a few more years.
Well, I bet there's more than one. But
yeah, it's always something.
Hey, I'm honked off about something too.
What's up?
Did you see? I saw it in today's paper. This is in today's Florida paper, a paper in Florida. Did you see how Florida is addressing the education issue?
I don't believe I've seen that, but shouldn't we explain to people what honked off means? I wonder if they know what that means. It's kind of a Pennsylvania phrase, honked. walked off.
I don't know if it is or not.
I think maybe it's universal anyhow. So you're a little bit disturbed about this. What did you say?
Here's how the Florida legislature is solving the the lack of good teachers down there. Military veterans and their wives can now teach in the classroom without a degree.
Well, there you go.
There you go. That's one way. That's one way to address an issue, right?
That is the simplest way. Do not put any requirements, any educational requirements on teachers. And you can get all you want. It's the same with air conditioning people. Why even bother training those people? Give a guy a pair of pliers and a voltmeter, and he's call himself an air conditioner.
That's about it. I mean, unfortunately, there are kids involved here.
Unfortunately, there is kids involved.
Yeah. Well, that whole our U.S. education system is one of my pet peeves. I don't talk about it that much, but I remember back when back in Bush 1's era, he was all distraught because the U.S. had ranked something like 15th or 16th in test scores globally. Like, why aren't we at least in the top 10? So we've thrown a lot of political stuff at the issue, and I'm happy to say we're now like 22nd or 23rd.
In quality of education for young people.
And ranking, based on comparative scores and that sort of thing.
Yeah. You can always get warm bodies to do things, but teaching is kind of a calling, and it's and it can really wreck things if you're not careful. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I look at, for example, Finland. Finland's always in the top 3. They're always 1, 2, or 3. More often 1, I think. And a number of years ago, they saw they had an issue with education, and they decided to do something about it at the national level. Okay, and so what did they do? They set very high standards for teachers. They chose their teachers from the very best students coming out of the universities. It was a profession to be proud of, and they paid them very well.
That'll do it.
You compare that to the U.S. system, and we are the exact opposite of all that. And so if we, it's not going to get better unless we do something significantly different. And
Dave, unfortunately for us, I would have to say, check with me in 20 years and I'll tell you how that worked out.
Yeah.
I mean, look at us. We're products of a dedicated education system. The teachers we had, we thought were absolutely dedicated for the nickels and dimes they were paying them.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of dedicated teachers out there. I'm not knocking teachers, but there are some teachers out there that have no business being teachers.
Well, if you're just going to offer it to anybody and his wife or something like that, just because they served in the military or ex-fireman or whatever, something like that. So.
Okay, but anyway, that's the end of my rant.
Okay, that's an interesting. Well, let's see how that plays out.
Here's I can give you a little bit of Pittsburgh's rant. What do you think of that?
What's up with Pittsburgh? What's happening there?
Well, you may or may not know that the legendary Heinz Field is no more.
Believe it or not.
Did you see that?
There's a Steeler fan in my neighborhood. You know how avid those guys can be. And he was upset about that. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Do you know how to pronounce the new name?
Acrisure. It's ACRISURE. That's the company that's, I think they've got like a 20-year lease.
So it's official.
Oh, it's official, absolutely. But there was, oh my gosh, they had pictures in the papers of them taking the Heinz logo down from the stadium, the ketchup bottles, and so there has been a big, the militant mob has formed, and now in a compromise, they're keeping the Heinz red zone. Okay, that's the, when the Steelers get down around the 20-yard line into the red zone there, then the ketchup bottle tips over and the scoreboard turns red and all that sort of thing. So that's the.
So Heinz is going to still get some advertising.
They're going to still get some advertising, yeah. And I still think it's like, I think it's a 5-year deal with Heinz now on this. And I think I think the Acrisure deal is 20 years.
Well, they make a lot of bucks to put their names on the stadiums. They change stadiums names occasionally. But I thought was interesting is that, or I think is going to be interesting, is that no one's going to say Acrisure Stadium.
No.
Right?
No.
It's going to be Aki. I'm telling you, it's going to be Aki Stadium. It's going to be Aki Stadium. They're going to give it.
I'm guessing
any multiple syllable word like that's not going to fly. They'll tag it. They'll give it a name. It'll be nicknamed.
For 80% of the people, it's going to be Heinz. I can tell you that now. There was a big outdoor entertainment venue outside of Pittsburgh here, and its original name was Star Lake Theater. Okay, so everybody knew it as Star Lake. And then it went through a couple, these promotional advertising it had this name, that name, but it was, everybody always called it Star Lake. And guess what they just changed the name to?
Star Lake?
Star Lake. They gave up. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there's a whole generation of people. In fact, it'd probably take a long time for them to internally talk about it. We'll always refer to it as Heinz Field, no matter what. I don't care what name they put on it, but if they have to, if a new generation has to refer to it, they'll tag it with something. Yeah, it'll be some kind of a crazy nickname. Interesting.
All right, we'll put this on. We'll put this on the agenda for podcast episode number 200 to see what they're calling the Heinz Field. If they're calling it Aki or
Aki Stadium.
Aki. Okay. Anyway. Okay.
And I said it first, so
that's right. Oh, yeah. It'll be on CBS tomorrow.
If it picks it up, it's because we said it first here. So,
did you know what July 24th was? The recently passed July 24th.
No, I don't know. What happened July 24th?
Oh, that's National Tequila Day. Everybody.
I wouldn't know that. I might have guessed it was Cold Brew Day or something.
So in honor of that, my wife and I went to a Mexican restaurant and ordered tequila drinks and just I don't know. But hey,
how'd that work for you?
This time I was smart. I only had one margarita. Last time I had two. That was a mistake. Is
that margaritas made out of tequila? Is that what they
Oh yeah.
I can't tolerate any alcohol, so I don't know.
You're lucky. I can tolerate less apparently. But anyway, hey, here's the interesting thing about Tequila Day, and I learned this from old Buck Jeff, one of our loyal listeners. We were sitting out up on the hill the other day and talking about, and I don't know, somehow bats came up about bats in your house or whatever, and he said, "Oh man, we need the bats. Need the bats." And I said, "Well, yeah, I like the bats, but why are the bats that important to you?" He said, "They do most of the pollination of the agave plants.
Oh.
That is the basis for the tequila." Yeah. Who knew?
I know they're pollinators. I remember. I watched. Yeah. I'm a big follower of all the latest is Green Planet and.
So I'm gonna go with Jeff's statement there, and I'm looking for Ranger Rick to verify it or not.
To clarify that, I believe that.
So correct. Rick, if you're listening, Rick. Let me know if we're right or not here.
Have you not been to like Cozumel or something and so where they have those plants? I one time went someplace where they were doing that. Anyhow, I don't remember. I went to a lot of places that I've long forgotten about.
Forgot about.
Can't remember.
Yeah.
But I do know that that plant is like a cactus or something, or not a cactus. Let's change the subject.
It's like an agave. Okay.
I'm not going to run with that because I can't remember.
Okay.
My mind is not working.
Okay. Fortunately, there's enough tequila around. Yeah. But did you know that there is another?
But wait, there's more.
There's another dire shortage out there. We had this panic segment last week on the French mustard shortage.
Yes.
Now I find there's something, an equally important material. Did you know what Aperol is?
No, I don't even know what that word means.
Okay, Aperol is it's a kind of like orange bitter aperitif. It's Italian.
Oh, it's a drink. It's a drink?
It's used in drinks. Yeah. And the big hot drink now or one of the big hot drinks is an Aperol spritz, which is it's a prosecco, Aperol, and sparkling water. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a nice light summer drink. And again, while we were talking about bats, one of the women there said, I went to the state store. This is Pennsylvania, where you have to buy your liquor from a state-owned store.
Mm-hmm.
She said, they were out of Aperol. And somebody else said, yeah, I went to such and such. They were out of Aperol too. And I'm thinking, when we were at the William Penn the other day for the furry convention night,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and one of the women with us ordered an Aperol drink, and he said, "Oh, sorry, we're out of Aperol. We don't have any Aperol." So there's clearly a big Aperol shortage going on here. So.
Someone's going to have to Google that and find out what that is. I have to write that down myself. What plant does it come from? An orange peel or
I
something?
think it's orange. It's like they call it a bitter orange. So I'm presuming it's an orange extract of some sort like that. But yeah,
But see, that goes to show you that there are things that are probably caught up in the supply chain that I don't care about.
right.
You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't never heard of this. I wouldn't know anything about it. And it's like, doesn't mean anything to me, but someone say, geez, where is that stuff? And sure enough.
There are a lot of millennials out there that are crying in their beer because they can't get Aperol. I'll tell you. Oh, well.
And I don't even know what it is. I'll be darned.
Yeah.
So those are interesting things that you find amusing. What else you got out there that you were dying to tell me about?
I just stumbled across a bunch of really bizarre things in the last couple of days. I know. Speaking of
by accident,
your accident.
I mean, you're not looking for bizarre things. You just stumbling around.
Yeah,
they
they land before my eyeballs. I know
Okay,
I know you're big on the whole climate change issue, as am I.
Oh my, I'm convinced it's happening.
And you're convinced that air travel coming to a halt is the camel that's going to break the straw's back or something like that.
The straw that'll break the camel's back.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
I know. I'm pretty convinced that when they cancel like all the flights for 3 days every which way because of this, that, or the other thing, or bad weather here, there, and everywhere, that people will really finally, it'll dawn on them that more people should be riding the bus.
Well, listen to this. This is somebody who doesn't waste any time taking commercial airliners. This is one of the Kardashians. You know the Kardashians?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about what I think of them too. But this is one of them, and I think it's like the youngest one. I don't know. She's 20 years old and she's a billionaire. She has her own private jet, of course. All right.
Of course.
She uses her private jet for flights as short as 3 minutes.
No.
3 minutes. How bad is that?
That's hardly enough to get off the ground and get back down.
Yeah, but it's enough to put out more bad stuff into the atmosphere than a jetliner, big one going out somewhere. That's pathetic.
Did you read that as being true? Someone actually, the pilot.
No, this is true. This is true.
Say that.
This is true. They showed the flight plan and everything. She met her boyfriend at the airport, and they each had a private jet. And they said, "She want to take mine, or want to take mine." So it's good. They showed she went like from one LA airport to another one, something like that. 3 minute flight. Hey, but she recycles, so she probably recycles. I don't know.
Oh well.
Oh well is right.
I mean, she'll be the last one to be concerned.
Clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly.
Mm-hmm. She'll probably have water when the rest of us don't.
Yeah. Boy, I saw pictures taken from the air of Lake Mead the other day. We know Lake Mead's going down, and they showed pictures like 5 years ago and 10 years ago, and last week. It's like, whoa.
That's in Vegas, isn't it? Somewhere out there, Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's what.
No, that's an see, to me that is so obvious that something would have to be done. I think the naysayers are still saying, "Oh, this is just cyclical. Don't worry about it. In a couple more
Mm-hmm.
years, we'll be fine. It'll rain good again, and
Yeah.
it'll fill back up, and we won't even remember how dangerous it was." But I mean, if those folks sort of if it gets below the water intake for their electricity out there, I think they're going to be in trouble.
It's getting close. It's getting
Yeah.
close to the yeah.
Hmm.
That's gonna get ugly. That's gonna get ugly.
Well, my goal has always been to be right. Even
Well,
if,
eventually that's going to happen here. You've been right a lot.
yeah, I've been right a lot. I mean, I bet some of my predictions, I may not live long enough to see them, but I would hate
Yep.
if there's things you don't want to be right about. I would think,
Yep. Yep.
you know,
Yeah.
speaking of little things far afield, I've been watching the news about the Russian ambassador hanging out in Africa and talking like nothing's a problem. I mean, he's like, well, we got this grain shipment stuff and all these problems of lack of food down there, and I'm thinking, how can he even show his face over there? But
Mm-hmm.
apparently they still throw out the red carpet for him because he's an
Yeah.
ambassador, and he's got the whole world holding the hostage for half of Africa.
Yeah.
I guess
Sad.
maybe they'll have to start buying oil or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is the strangest conflict I've ever seen. If we're going to have a war, let's have a war. Let's draw some lines and say you can't do this, you can't do that. But are we really having a war? Or are we just sort of eradicating a group of people called the Ukrainians?
Yeah. Yeah. Honest.
So, oh well, I don't want to be right about the predictions on that one. I think winter is going to be where we really, really.
Yeah, that's right.
It changes everything.
Hey, we're having a bad day here. That we certainly.
But what do you got that's more positive? I mean,
grouches.
We're facing a lot of crazy stuff.
Oh, hey, well, here's something that nobody cared about before. Jonas Vingegaard won the Tour de France. He's Danish, first Danish rider to win in a whole lot of years. Held the yellow jersey for the last several stages and had some really great shootouts with his number one rival, Tadej Pogačar. And but Jonas hung in there.
Well, let me ask you this. I saw a picture there where the riders were like all sitting up sort of arm in arm riding.
Yeah.
You said that's the riding to Paris is more of a ceremonial.
It's ceremonial except for the sprinters. Yeah, they just, they all kind of all ride in together, have a fine time. They get a lot of pictures taken. Okay. And then, then the last like the last 40 miles, they do several, it's not quite that many miles, but they do several laps around the Champs-Élysées, and that's a time for the sprinters to get sprinter points.
So now we're going to see what the women do, eh?
Yes. Stage 2. I've watched the first 2 stages yesterday and today, and there'll be 8 stages in the Tour de France Femmes. And it was fun to watch. Unfortunately, there were a couple really, really nasty crashes today.
Ooh.
Yeah, hate to see that, but it was, oh boy. But anyway, it's been interesting. It's been interesting. These are tough athletes. They are tough athletes. My best day. I was not as good as these women would be. Not even close. Not even close.
It's 10 times worse than trying to pedal into the wind, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
15 knot wind, you can hardly move. It's come to a complete standstill.
Hey, listen, let's end this on a bright note here.
All right, give me some bright notes.
I finished another book.
Yeah.
It's called Galapagos by Kurt Vonnegut.
Oh, by old Kurt Vonnegut.
Oh, Kurt, the late great Kurt. Yeah. So, I mean, we all know, Slaughterhouse Five.
It's a classic stuff.
Breakfast of Champions, all that stuff. I had never read this. I don't know. I downloaded it from the library, I believe, just curious. Maybe I haven't read anything by Vonnegut for a long time. So this was published in '85. And, it's classic Vonnegut. It's, humorous satire. The interesting thing is, of course, it's kind of all built around these people that are on this this fated cruise to the Galapagos Islands from the South American mainland. Okay, he basically tells you the ending at the beginning. All right, pretty close to the beginning. You learn all the stuff that's all the outcomes, and then the book is how did they get to these different points along the way and these different outcomes. And it's the narrator is a ghost. All right, he's a ghost of a dead guy, and it's 1,000,000 years in the future, and the story takes place in 1986, where there's a big financial crisis and all kind of bad stuff starts happening. It's so well done, the way he weaves everything.
He's brilliant.
He's
brilliant.
Yeah. And the upshot of this is the humans' big brains, our big brains, are the source of all our troubles. If we didn't have such big brains and didn't feel the need to solve every problem or win every war, we'd be a lot better off. So it's a story of these people that are kind of basically shipwrecked on the Galapagos Islands, and how they got there and what happened subsequently. It's really, really well done.
I'm really proud of you going retro there a little bit of
going retro. Yeah.
That last one I read from his was called Bluebeard, and
and
you can't help but laugh and smile at some of his
exactly.
some of the antics that he pulls.
Exactly. You're just like, you devil, that's how you're doing it. Okay.
Yeah.
It was it was just a pleasure to read. It was a pleasure to read. It was fun.
I told you I was reading some Grisham. I haven't finished it yet, but I find it was totally different. It was a different approach. Like I said, there was a murder in it, but it wasn't about a detective. It was about a newspaper writer. And when I get this finished, I'll give you a little update on that. I mean, I don't really read too much of his stuff, but that's kind of a laid back, easy read. So I'll let you know.
Okay, good. Hey, here's what I'm going to do. I've got I'm going to post a link to a video that he did. All right, and it's a 5-minute video, and it's on the shape of a story. Okay, it just tells you pretty much all you need to know about telling or writing a story. It's it's old, it's grainy, but it's so clever, it's so cute. So I'm going to post that. Watch that before, folks out there, all three of you now, watch that before you read Galapagos so you can see what you're in for if you want to do that.
So are you going to leave me on that note?
I'm going to leave you in a couple ways here. I'm going to be headed to another location here shortly. I'm going to be up in New York for a little while, and then off to Maine for a while, and then places unknown beyond that. So I've got the next 5 or 6 weeks. I'll be roaming out there.
Okay. Well, you're going to be able to check in. You're going to leave a forwarding address.
I will take the gear with me, and we'll have some on-the-road reports. What do you think of that?
All right. Why don't we do that? Do you hear the lightning in the background there?
I heard something. Your voice started. Something made your voice go wah 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 wah.
It could be because there's a big thunderstorm going on.
It must be getting around 4:00. Time to rain.
Yeah, about that time. Well, listen, we'll look forward to hearing about that. Check in and tell us about your adventures, because it will always be something.
It'll always be something.
So with that, then, this is old Buck Dell saying thank you for all our listeners out there. Hope all good things happen to you.
And this is old Buck Dave saying whatever that guy said, because I totally agree with it. Take care, folks. See you then. Bye-bye.